Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out to the inaugural Tyler Hildebrand press conference. We are going to go ahead and start the press conference this afternoon with an opening statement from Coach Hildebrand. Then we'll open it up to questions for the media.
Thanks, Lindy. The girls are excited this week. We got a chance to compete against Pepperdine on Saturday in an exhibition match, which we were able to get most of the girls in. We were able to look at a few lineups. Pepperdine is a very physical team. They've had a lot of success over the last 6 to 8 years, and so it was a really good test to see where we were at. And the girls are playing hard. They're adapting to a new system. We got new coaches, new players. So, we're really trying to figure out how quickly we can adapt into our system, how we want to play the game. And so Pepperdine was a dress rehearsal. And now we got to go put it on the line this weekend up in Portland. So we're excited about that, and we're getting ready to go.
Questions?
Good afternoon, Tyler. All right, so going up to Portland State and having 2 matches in one day, what's that vibe going to be like? And do you have like a possible game plan to how you're going to tackle Oregon State and Portland State?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thankfully, it's been going on for a long time. These 3 matches in 2 days, tournaments, it's a way that you can keep your dates the same without having to extend dates, because there's rules against that seem to be maybe loosening up over the next couple of years. So luckily, we've done that a lot of times as women's college teams. We're used to that kind of. It's almost like you go back to your club days. You're playing multiple matches in a day, and and the other hard part about this weekend, we don't think it's hard, but the thing that's different about this weekend is that you don't really have that much information. It was a little bit easier to know a little bit about Pep because they returned 6 of their 7 starters. So we were able to watch them a little bit from last year. But, people could have different starters depending on how many people are returning. We're going through that today. So really this week is about us. We're not going to be doing a ton of match prep. We'll probably do a little bit more before Oregon on Saturday because we'll have 2 matches, so we'll get to go over them that night. But, Friday, playing those 2 matches, I believe at 12 and 6, that'll be about our side of the net. And we might get a couple notes, on Portland State before we go play them that evening. But, they're trying to change this rule where you get extra days so that we would be able to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday every weekend instead of have to do this, because it is a lot of jumps for the student athletes, in one day, especially if you go 5 sets both times. So, but that's how we're handling it. We're going to keep it on our side of the net and try to go kind of what we do with Pepperdine, just a few notes and get rolling. So.
Coach, there are so many new faces for fans here in Long Beach this year, but they're all pretty much new faces to you, right? What have you been learning about your team as this preseason has gone on?
We've been really, it's been a really fun time for our staff. First, we have new staff too, but it's been a really fun time with our staff because our girls they've been awesome. In the spring, learning and adapting to new coaches, and we didn't have Nick the whole time in the spring, but he'd be there quite a bit. And so the energy, their excitement, their willingness to learn, the way they're trying to bond together, even in the spring, has just been really fun. And so sometimes new can be really challenging, and I'm sure we will have our challenges with it. But sometimes new is exciting and fun, and there's an excitement because you just don't have all this scar tissue with everybody, and so we're trying to turn it into a positive. And so it has been, and the transfers coming this summer, they got to do their open gyms and lift and do all the stuff that they did in the summer. So they've gotten to know each other, quicker than if they just would have got started on August 8th, or 9th, I guess, and had this short ramp up. So I would say that from my perspective, we're as good as we could be from the newness. I think that we're not seeing any collateral issues with it at the moment. And And there's a vibe and an excitement, I think, because of the new players. And we've been incredibly impressed with how quickly they're learning what we're trying to do. And I think Pepperdine on Saturday was a good sign of that. Is, we played like we practiced, and that's always a good sign of like you're not overthinking too much, and you're not, that they're starting to get comfortable with each other. So.
Coach, Long Beach State always has a high standard when it comes to volleyball, and you even referred Long Beach State to Volleyball U. Like, what do you think the expectations are for this year is going to be like, as opposed to like the previous years, and how big of the hype is it going to be for this year?
Well, a couple of those things you mentioned are outside of our control. So we can't control the hype. We can't control, maybe what other people's expectations are for us. But you bring up a really good point. And we do feel a responsibility. And I've said this in every time I talk publicly, but I feel one of the reasons I came back was to try to, we have legacy, on our and the stars, and all of that is because we do respect what this program has been, and as you can see behind me, what they've done, and so we're trying to find the right blend of honoring that, bringing that back, but also not necessarily looking backwards, like looking forward. And so I wasn't here for the last few years. I wasn't around. I didn't know what expectations were. To be honest, before I started getting interested in the job, I didn't even know, the exact records. I knew generally how things were going. But so for us, the short answer there is that, we're just looking forward to tomorrow's practice, try to get better. We got some challenges this week in the gym, trying to figure out how we can manage all the players. And we have some limited court space. So I'm a lot more focused on how we're going to go through practice tomorrow than how we're going to be this season. But I told the girls, the first time I talked to all of our players was the day after I got hired, and it was in Zoom. I was still in Nebraska. And I said, it's been a while since we've won the Big West. And we've actually only won the Big West once in the last 11 years. And so our expectations are what I told them is they need to start wrapping their brain around winning the Big West. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. I think we're going to have a chance. I think there's good teams in our league. I think the preseason poll came out today, which again is way outside of our control. But I think we got picked to finish fourth, and so we're not trying to put expectations like we need to win the Big West or it's a failure. We need to go a couple rounds deep or deeper into the tournament or it's a failure. We're trying to take it one day at a time, but we do have some expectations to get this program back to, being at the top of our conference, and that helps our school win the Commissioner's Cup, and it helps our recruits come and go experience what it's like to play in an NCAA tournament. And I've been fortunate enough to coach and play in a lot of NCAA tournaments, and our women that play for us should experience what that's like and learn how to get deeper into that tournament.
So starting the season on the road first, how much are you looking forward to traveling with this squad for the first time? I mean, you've spent some time with Nebraska that has always really traveled pretty well in the beginning part of the season, right? So now you get to do that with Long Beach State. How much are you looking forward to it?
I'm pretty excited for the first trip this weekend. It's obviously I'm first-time head coach, and so I'm a little more stressed out than normal in terms of, we got to make sure we do everything right and keep everybody safe and make sure we get the meals and all that stuff handled. And we know there'll be a learning curve on how it goes. So, but we're excited to get this season going. I mean, we really have added a lot of talent to our roster. But we've added really, really cool women to our team, and like I said in the spring, all the girls that were here are really great players, great women. So it's just going to be exciting to see, what our ceiling is, what our challenges are going to be, and I thought we played well against Pep, and I think to be able to play against a team and a program like that at this stage of our 9 new players and 4 new coaches and this really brief ramp up we have shows that we're going to have a chance to compete with some teams. And so this weekend, that's more about what I'm excited about. And we'll see how, hopefully we don't screw anything up with the travel. So.
One last question.
Tyler, as a new head coach, and a new coaching staff, what's the primary item in terms of culture that you've tried to establish through Double Days, and how do you think the team has responded to that?
That's a good question. The basis of our culture is twofold. So we want to be great learners. So we have a learning-centric culture. That gets thrown around a lot, but I'm not sure everybody backs it up. They say that and then tell you what you did wrong all the time, which isn't facilitating learning. But so part of that means you got to be vulnerable when you make mistakes, and you got to be able to admit them, and you got to know that you're supported to do that. You have to not be afraid of failure, because you have to be able to look at failure as a positive, because we can learn from it. You know, we've watched a lot of Kobe's stuff, and Kobe got asked, like, what do you think of failure? He's like, it doesn't exist. You know, there's just no such thing as failing. The only way you fail is if you don't come back tomorrow and try again. And so we want to be great learners in the classroom, but on the court and then in life. So to us, that's a healthy environment for what our women and our players are going through, because that's going to carry on to being a great mother or a great spouse or a great businesswoman or whatever they do in their life. And so that's the first part. And the second part is that we all started this game because we enjoyed playing it. And that gets lost along the way a little bit. And so for us, we want to have joy. We want to express that joy. We want our fans and our community to see that. And you can't just turn it on when the match comes. Like, okay, let's go have fun now. You know, it's like you got to have fun in every part of the program, whether that's team meetings or our trip or certainly in practice. We're with them every day. And that doesn't mean that, you know, we don't care and this is just a joke. You know, it just means, how do you find fun in the grind? And so the players have been it's been overwhelming how receptive they've been to that culture and or what we're asking them to do there. I think you got to see that there, you know, on Saturday. I certainly got a lot of feedback from the fans. We had almost 1,000 fans there, as you guys know. And a lot of the feedback was, it's just fun to see them really excited and enjoying being out there. And so our culture is about going really, really hard, demanding a lot of accountability to be great learners and get better, but have fun while you're doing it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.